For this topic, pag-uusapan naman natin ang konsepto ng crop science. At para mas maintindihan natin to, kailangan nating malaman kung ano nga ba ang crop science. Pero bago yan, i-define muna natin yung crop at i-differentiate muna natin siya sa plant. So, a plant is any organism under the kingdom Plantae. And a crop is a plant domesticated or cultivated for its economic value. Meaning, a crop is a plant grown because it is useful or for profit. Based on these definitions, we can say that all crops are plants, but not all plants are crops. Next ay i-define naman natin yung science. According to Merriam-Webster, science is a knowledge about the natural world that is based on facts. So these facts are learned through experiments and observation. For short, science is a systematically organized and tested knowledge. So, dahil may definition na tayo ng crop and science, we can now define crop science. So, crop science is defined as the study of economically cultivated crops and their environment. Since this is a broad discipline, kasama dito ang production, physiology, breeding, genetics, and management. So this field of science is concerned with observation and classification of knowledge. Kasama na dito yung improvement, innovation, and production ng mga economically cultivated crops. Ang crop science ay merong dalawang areas. So, una na yung agronomy. So, agro, from the term agros, meaning field, and nomi, from the term nomos, meaning arranging or managing. So, ang agronomy deals with the principles and practices of managing field crops and soils. So, ano ba tong mga field crops na ito? Itong mga field crops ay madalas annual crops or short-lived lang sila na tinatanim ng malawakan sa open area or open field. So, they are planted repeatedly, harvested once, at normally yung product dito is relatively dry. May iba't ibang groups itong agronomic crops, katulad ng cereals and grain, pasture and forage, pulses or green legumes, sugar crops, starchy root and tuber crops, stimulant crops katulad ng tobacco, fiber crops. Yung second na area is the horticulture. Yung term horti comes from the Latin word hortus, meaning garden, at yung culture from the word cultura, meaning cultivation. So, ang horticulture is the art and practice of garden cultivation and management. At included dito ang pomology, olericulture, ornamental, plantation, nursery management, and landscape gardening. So, yung term na pomology, yung pomo ay galing sa word na pomum, meaning fruit. Yung logy ay sa logia, meaning the study of. So, ang pomology is the study of cultivation and management of fruit crops. Next is yung olericulture. So, yung term na oleri ay galing sa olus, meaning vegetables. So, ang olericulture ay branch naman ng horticulture that deals with the cultivation and management of vegetables. Yung ornamental naman, ito naman yung branch ng horticulture that deals with the production of plants na ang purpose ay for aesthetic or for beautifying, decorating, or enhancing the environment. Under nito is yung cut flower, flowering plants, foliage, turf, etc. So, pasok dito yung floriculture. Yung term na flori ay galing sa word na flor or floss, meaning flower. So, ang floriculture is the cultivation and management of ornamental and flowering plants. Next is yung plantation. So, ito ay large group of plants, especially trees, under cultivation for commercial purposes, katulad ng oil, fiber, beverage, spices, condiments, latex, resins, medicinal, and pesticidals. Nursery management naman, ito yung sum of all activities performed in order to produce planting materials. And lastly is yung landscape gardening. So ito yung art and practice of designing or creating a garden that imitates the natural scenery. The goal of crop science is not only to address the problems of food shortage or not only to grow plants simply to satisfy the needs of man, but also to realize some profits in the process of production o yung crop production na tinatawag. Yung science nito is derived from the adaptation and application of different basic sciences. So, ito ay connected sa iba't ibang field of science. For example, yung botany. Siyempre, kailangan familiar ka sa plant structure at sa mga physiological processes na pinagdadaanan ng halaman mo. Soil science para sa soil fertility and soil management. Sa crop protection para ma-manage mo yung pests and diseases ng crops mo. Agricultural engineering para sa mga structures, machineries, water and waste management, at yung processing. Sa agricultural economics naman, yung production and marketing. Yung agrometeorology naman for weather and forecasting. Tapos yung breeding or genetics para mas ma-improve mo pa yung quality ng iyong crop.